All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sitting through that break. Uh, Remember, before we get into our franchise tag segment here, that you can leave a tip for us on this video. Let your comment get to the very top of our list, or leave a comment in the YouTube comment section. All you need to do is go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork/tip. Leave a tip. Your message will come right across the screen for me and everybody else to see. Again, that's streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork/tip. Now, the NFL franchise tag window opens up in just a couple days. I believe on the 21st, so 2 days from now on Wednesday, the franchise tag window opens up. So, with that being said, there are some major free agents on a lot of teams that need to be dealt with. I guess dealt with is not the right word. There's decisions for teams to make here. Are you going to use your franchise tag? Now, to go over what a franchise tag is, for everyone that is unsure, the franchise tag is a 1 year fully guaranteed deal that is based off of the top five at each position. So, what the NFL does is it takes the yearly salaries of the top five NFL players at that position. So, for instance, quarterback, they take the top five salaries per year and they take the average of it. And this year, it comes out to $36 million. And that is what is fully guaranteed, a 1 year fully guaranteed deal. Now, some players that are in this tag conversation, you can only be tagged 3 times in your career, or in a row. So guys like Kirk Cousins cannot be franchise tagged anymore. So he is not in discussion here. But there are some other guys, Saquon Barkley, who did not end up signing his franchise tag last season, got a different deal that was basically a franchise tag. He can play for the Giants, is someone on here. Mike Evans, some of these bigger free agents that teams might not have a great chance of signing otherwise might get slapped with this franchise tag. So CBS Sports put out a nice article going through every single team that they think might use their franchise tag. The first one here is the Ravens using it on Justin Madubuike, who had an incredible season. He went through, I believe, like a 12-game stretch where he had a sack in every single game. He was being compared to Aaron Donald. Which is one of the best comparisons you can probably get. Being compared to one of the greatest players in NFL history at your position. But next to him, some other major free agents that might get the tag, and he'll probably end up getting the tag. You have guys like Brian Burns with the Panthers, who they could have traded him for 2 firsts a couple years ago, if you remember. If you remember, he could have been traded. The Rams were offering a lot for Brian Burns. Brian Burns is one of the best edge rushers, linebackers in football, and he's on the Panthers. He does not want to sign. He doesn't want to re-sign based on everything that went on in the last season or so. It seems like he will not sign. So a franchise tag for him is most likely what's going to happen. An interesting one on their list here, T. Higgins. A lot of people are saying there's no way that the Bengals can keep him. There's no way that the Bengals can keep him. A franchise tag might keep him around one more year, but we don't know if he even wants to come around another year. He could make a lot of money in free agency. He's probably the best receiver out there in free agency, outside of maybe Mike Evans. If you wanted to compare the two, he's due for a payday, and adding him on that franchise tag, keeping him around, it'd be huge for the Bengals. I'm not sure if they're going to end up using the franchise tag on him, but if I were them, I would. You got to keep him around for another year. Another receiver that might receive it, we just talked about Mike Evans, but the Bucks have a lot of other candidates, so I would be shocked if Mike Evans was the one that received it. You have Baker Mayfield as well, who they seem like they might pay. A report came out earlier today with Mike Evans saying he wants to see what they do with Baker before he signs. So I don't know if he wants them to keep Baker or he wants them to not keep Baker. That's probably something that they have had conversations about. But also Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety, he just is coming off one of the best seasons for a safety in a really long time. So they have a lot of options on who they can franchise tag. I personally would use it on whoever you can't get a deal with. My number one priority for that franchise tag probably would be Antoine Winfield. He is a game changer on defense. Keeping him around would be huge for them. But then the big question with the franchise tag, the same one as last season, Saquon Barkley. All reports seem to be suggesting that Saquon Barkley wants out of New York. And with him being basically that entire offense, the entire offense for New York basically being Saquon Barkley, he has every right to want a big contract, want out. Now, if the Giants had given him that contract at the end of last season, which they should have, done, he was offered contracts, to be fair, but they weren't big contracts. And Saquon is a running back that he's going to want a deal long term. He's not going to want to get franchise tag. Again, these players don't have a lot of choice. The Giants need Saquon Barkley. So I would be surprised if, in as much as they need him, as much as they do, I would be surprised if he did not get a franchise tag from them. Now, I doubt he would sign that franchise tag. Again, excuse me. He refused to sign that franchise tag at the end of at the beginning of last season, which led to a whole bunch of other issues. You remember the whole running back not being paid of last season. Saquon Barkley was in the center of that. But I think the Giants will slap another tag on him. Hopefully they can reach a deal. But if not, I would be surprised if they do not tag him, because I don't see a way that New York lets him go. The Dolphins, Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle, is the guy on the list here. Christian Wilkins, another game wrecker on the interior. He is a huge part of that much improved Miami defense. Being able to stop the run is a huge piece, and he's very good at that. And he also is good at getting pressure on the passer. So if that defense can stay healthy and stay together, I'm not sure if they're actually going to use the tag on him. But there's a lot of guys out here. I think only about a third of the teams in the league this year will even possibly use the franchise tag. Obviously the Ravens, the Giants, the Bucks. The Colts might use it on Michael Pittman Jr. here. He is entering free agency. He's just had a huge season. He's been their wide receiver one ever since T.Y. Hilton stopped being as effective. He's been really good for them. And outside of him, they have Josh Downs, solid receiver. Not sure if he's a number one type guy, but letting him walk might be a mistake. Now, honestly, I think they'll come to a long term deal with Michael Pittman. I think they'll be able to come to some kind of agreement, and he will get tagged. He won't end up getting tagged. Uh, but overall, the guys that I think definitely will get tagged, uh, T. Higgins, Brian Burns, Saquon Barkley, and Antoine Winfield Jr. I think those guys are definitely getting tagged. Um, but if some of these other guys like Michael Pittman or uh, Tony Pollard can't work out deals, then I think you're looking at those guys getting franchise tagged as well. And it brings up another conversation about the running back market. I know second year in a row we'll be talking about the running back market, but you have guys like Saquon and you have guys like Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, all up for contract or franchise tag again this season. It's going to be something for us to keep an eye out on. What are these players going to get? Are we finally paying running backs after just Jonathan Taylor got paid? After Christian McCaffrey, he got paid a little while ago. But are we finally going to start paying running backs again? What? What are the numbers looking like for these guys? Because running back position is a very fickle one. And then the wide receivers as well. It's not the most electrifying wide receiver free agent class, but especially if the headliners like T. Higgins and Michael Pittman end up getting franchise tagged. But there's a lot to look out for coming up in this NFL offseason. And the franchise tag window opens up tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Uh, yeah. So if you come back after this next break, we will be covering the 49ers defensive coordinator position opening, a couple names that may or may not fit in there that I've heard getting thrown around, as well as what the 49ers might do with a guy like Brandon Ayuk, who's been rumored to get traded. So stick around. We will be right back.